Everybody, I'm Ose, and we are continuing from where we left off yesterday. I've started ploughing this field, which needs it. Where is it? Field 3 needs to be ploughed this year. I think most of these do as well, but for now, this is the one that was harvested. I have to... Excuse me, I certainly got surprised by my commercial. And this field is currently covered with straw swaths, which we're going to have to bale up and move out so we can prepare that field for planting as well. This field has just been planted with grass and what's the word for it? Fertilized 2 stages. We probably won't get any grass out of this before the end of the year, but it'll be ready for next year. And that's where we sit at the moment. So I need to jump out of this thing, and I'm not worried about the extra swathes of straw on this field. We're pretty much bits and pieces, not significant for our purposes, and we're probably going to end up selling most of them. So this there we go. So we're going to be driving the Valtra T and picking up or making straw bales. We did start some on this field, but I didn't get the tractor and baler over here in time to follow the harvester for most of the harvest. We did use Follow Me on this tractor on field 3, which is currently being ploughed. Which means I can get more jobs done at any given point in time. So far I think we've spent about £5,000 on salaries through helpers and Follow Me. But a truck and trailer load of grains for sale usually brings in around what's it, 25 to 30,000 pounds. So it's not like using helpers is a bad thing. So I think we got about 200,000 litres off of this one field. Noticed going to church this morning that our local farmer has mowed and cleared his field for the 2nd time this year. Got a couple of pictures last year. He was baling it up with a mid-sized John Deere tractor hauling a small class round baler. I watched him for a little while. And it looks like his cornfield's ready to go. Although he needs a period of dry weather in order to be able to get that done. Something I never really paid attention to before I started playing Farm Sim. This is a much quicker job with that square baler on the back. Unfortunately, I did forget to count the bales. I did yesterday. So I have no idea how many I've got. Although they are all still stacked at the side of the field to the north of us. Oops. Really don't have to worry about the straw on the side of the field. It's not a significant amount, and the next time it rains it'll be washed away. I think I'm going to wish I have access to the class to move all these bales. So I would be able to use the 16 bale mechanical trailer as well as the flatbed truck with the auto load script. And then I could ship 40 bales at a time, but I think the class is going to be busy ploughing and planting these fields. So we'll just have to rely on the truck, although the truck's faster than the tractor. Now, a local farmer, when he's doing his baling, his rows are very close together. So he will do one row in 3 along the field, adjust, and then work his way back down the field, doing one of the 2 remaining rows on each pass, and then adjust again when he gets to the end of the field and come back and do the final sets of rows, which would be more akin to the width I've got here. And he'd have 2 rows between them, but it saves, yeah, you can use the turn radius of the tractor and baler to just effectively keep the cruise control on and just keep going. Although with the round baler he had to stop to unload it. He didn't have to go forwards and backwards at the end of each pass in order to get the very next row. He'd just take an easy turn like this and grab the next row. Like that. Now I probably don't actually have to do that because I got a big harvester, so the rows are quite spread out. But it's not much use me ending up at the bottom of the field and having to drive all the way back again. Which I would have to do. So I'll work my way down and then work my way back up again. And all the equipment will end up by a gate. I'm planning to pull all the round straw bales out of the barn and sell those because they're a couple of years old, and replace them with some of these square bales. I'll probably take a few square bales up to the main farm at Lawfolds so they're available for the pigs and I don't have to keep running down to the cow shed to grab a straw bale every so often, and then I'll sell the rest. I'm not going to bother going to the BGA because the digestate tank is 85%, I think. I didn't use that much fertilizing field 1. Once I've finished baling with the Valtra, I'll hitch it back onto the slurry tank and put some digestate down on this field and field 3. And that'll give us one stage of fertilization on everything, sorry. This field will need to be cultivated as well. so I'm going to have to wait till the class is available for that. And then typically I'll run a crop of oilseed radish to provide another layer of fertilization on both these field 2 and 3. One's done with. It's going to be grass. And as soon as I get the first layer of grass on there, I'll be able to run the weeder over it. And that'll be 3 levels of fertilization for whenever I decide to mow it. That might not be till next year. So I don't know how fast it's going to grow for me. Oops. Figured I might as well put it on cruise control. Class is still ploughing. I'm not going to get everybody else harvesting another field yet. As it is, I've got all day tomorrow to harvest. I believe the forecast says it's going to be sunny. First day of fall is going to be cloudy, but oops, we can still harvest on that day too. And I think I may have 1, maybe 2 more fields that are ready to harvest. So like I said, I'm not really in a significant rush to do them all now. But with so many days of the fall wet, 4 out of the 6, any of the late blooming crops, that's going to be the problem. I think primarily that's just the 2 cornfields I have. Steep hill, tractor's having issues. head back up the field. And we'll be done. Once again, I'll use the truck and trailer with the autoload script to pull the bales off this field. I am coming to realise that I do need a second tractor that I can either use to back up the class or have the class back up. The JCB just doesn't quite have the horsepower. It's in the low 300s, which I thought was going to be sufficient. And the class has about 380 horsepower, which means it can pretty much haul all of the heavy equipment that I currently have. And yeah, JCB's not able to cope with it. So I'll probably sell the JCB next year and get something in the high 300s, low 400s. I don't have 2 ploughs, I don't have 2 cultivators, I'm not planning to get that. It's just being able to let the class loose with the plough and run through the fields, and once it's done I can put another tractor on the planters and start planting crop. At the moment I have to wait till the class is finished and then go round and plant the fields. And all that time I don't have a heavy hauling tractor either. The JCB struggles with 1 trailer load off a field to the silos. Trucks themselves don't have a problem. The trucks have 500 horsepower and can quite happily haul a load on themselves and a trailer with a second load. Two, 3 more rows. all done. I'll check the information page and see how many bales I've done today. It's not got very far. Probably pull a left turn here, because there's a dog leg on the last row. Presuming I haven't dropped a bale at the end of it. Okay, we're clear. So that's usually what happens. This baler has I think, a wider pickup width than the original New Holland balers. So it's a little bit more forgiving. Nothing will pick up all of that round. What's the unload button? Oh, you have to turn it off. Turn off, unload, yay. Fold, lift, and that's pretty much done with for now. Let's stick to the track. There's the class. I will go back and tidy up the ends. Yes, it's a bit OCD, but it's what I do. Okay, I will put this here for now, because we need to look at fields and what they're. So we got 26 and 27 still to do. That is canola. That's good. And that is wheat again. So there's going to be some more bales here, so I can't put the baler away. That's soybeans, so there's 27's the last baling field left. And we can do that as soon as we like. So what's the next job? Oh, the next job is, how many bales did we just do? 14 eggs. 152 plus what was done yesterday. Don't need that tractor right now. Okay. Each stack of these is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we picked up 144 yesterday, and there was still more on the field. And off we go. Let's be unrealistic. Was close enough. Missed that one. Okay. That's full. Too much. Turn the pickup on. Turn the pickup on. And here we go again. And there is a minor advantage to round bales in that they roll to the bottom of the hill. So using an auto-load trailer can end up with them loading quicker than square bales because they're all in one mass. Oh, way too far. There we go. Okay. Oh, we got that one instead. Okay. $1,200 wage, pound wage. And that's probably because we've only got the plough going at the moment. Random bale pickup, yay. Missed. Two, three, so I'll take the rest over to the piggies when we're done. I think there's just 4 left. I don't see any more. Probably gonna regret this. It's all going to be at the front, so that's probably okay. Hopefully I can just follow the trailer out. And not as regretful as I expected. So we now have straw for the pigs. Kept locally. So endeth that part of the realistic section of the job. Said it sarcastically. Okay. 9. Round bales, that'll be good. Work position. I can turn the engine off and jump out. I now need the Massey Ferguson. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That one there. Ah, that's too heavy. Okay. Oh, they're all falling over. Bing. But that worked. I could put a weight on the back. But not going to bother right now. Oops, there we go. One, two. Okay, there is room for 9 more on that thing. Yeah, those are going to roll all over the place. Yeah. Cows are sounding very excited though. Gotcha. Sure, I can. Oh, I can't skew at that pair because there's 4 on top of that one. I think I got 2. So there's 5 left. Yep, we got 2. Okay, how do the cows and pigs look for hay? Straw. I could give the cows one. Pigs are probably overloaded. So we'll put 1 round 1 in the cow barn. And find someone else to put the round ones that are left over. There we go. Be happy, cows. I could pick up the rest of the straw bales and then take a couple of hay bales in as well. Okay. I think I'll cheat with the hay bales and I'll just reverse up and take what loads. I definitely want all of the straw. Oh well. Okay. Oh, because you're set to square bales. Round bales. Work position. There we go. That fixed that. That's 1. And 1 more. on front of the harvester's header trailer. That's a large pile of stuff. Yes, I want to turn that way. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's loaded. Mostly straw and some hay. I've got a bunch of square hay bales up at the sheep farm, probably more than I actually need down there. We are going to need all of these gates open now. I didn't think harvest was going to come so soon, which is why I closed them all earlier. But need to bring the harvesting gear up to here. And as I said, not going to take them to the VGA because the tank's full anyway. Okay. So I think I'll put 2 truckloads of straw bales in that barn. And I won't be too worried about the rest of them, as we've got a couple of days before it rains. Canola's quite an efficient crop, so we won't fill the trailer up quite as quickly. Okay, I will drop this trailer here. And just use the truck to move the straw bales in. And we're not selected for square bales, of course. Square bales. Well, that's a mess. Okay. Yay. Okay. So I'm wondering, 24 or 36. I might put another stack in there. I will probably never use them. there? Yeah. Oh, that's close enough. There we go. 36 square straw bales. Go and hitch onto the trailer, and we will stop hauling bales for now. So like I said, no big rush for doing that job yet. Obviously, if a little rain symbol appears at the top right, we'll be rushing that in. Meanwhile, heavy tank. It takes a fair bit of power to get rolling, but once we're moving we can actually make top speed with the tractor, so not completely outside of its capabilities. Nope, didn't need to do that. Oh, that's the 10 o'clock and it's a work night alarm. There we go. And I forgot I need to charge my phone. Okay, so how do we unfold this thing? Nope. Oh, the thing at the back. Yay. That's close, but not quite. So, no, reverse. There we go. And helper, off you go. Okay, good job. Don't need you. Let's check on the... what are you doing? Ugh. What are you doing? Oh, for crying out loud. Stupid helpers. Let's try that again. needs to go on that side. Lower. Yep. And off we go. Okay, well, I was going to send the harvester off to harvest field 26. Yep, and it looks like little old helper's not having any of it and can't cope with this field anymore. Oh no, it starts off on the bed of the trailer. Push the unload side button once, it moves to the left. Push it again, moves to the right. Push it again, it moves to the back. Although obviously if you've got a trailer behind you, you don't need to be unloading to the back. But yeah, it's got 3 side unload, or 4, yeah, 4 unload points. Let me jump to. So if I select the front unit, if I press, I've got a feeling it's not going to work because there's nothing on it. Yeah. We can come back to that later. Meanwhile, we've got ploughing to do. Oh, this is awkward. Okay, there we go. So if I get this right, this should just drive straight into the correct line. So in spite of the fact you have to make a very tight turn on that to keep the plough running adjacent to the last track. I can flip that plough round in a very narrow width. It takes the tractor a lot wider. What I'll do here is I'll flip the plough and then go and do the top of the field. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably wreck the plough doing that particular manoeuvre, but I'm a little bit OCD and I want to get the entire field ploughed, not just the middle bits. Okay, that should do it. And these aren't the easiest ploughs to use. Obviously the straight ploughs are simpler. Raise, flip. Where is it? I don't have one. I think there's one under cultivators. This type of plough, very easy to use because it's just straight tines, and obviously you can get right up to the edge of the field, and as soon as you hit the bottom of the field you can lift it up. These leave wedges at the edge of each field, or at each end of the field. But those straight ploughs run at a much slower speed than these do. I mean, I'm running this one at 8 miles an hour. I think the straight ploughs tend to be about 6 or 5 miles an hour. Plus they're only 3 meters wide and this one's 6.5. So I'm ploughing a lot faster. Okay, keep going. Stop. Lift. Flip. What I'm going to do is yeah, that's right. I'm going to run along across to the bottom of the field. Like I did at the top. Again, depending how big these missed parts are, I may have to do another row back the other way. I think I missed a bit. Yes, I did. Okay, OCD farmer is slightly less upset. although the lines don't line up. But you won't notice those once we've started planting. That's okay, we can go down here now. That's not going to work. Come on. Okay, no. Lower the plough, don't drop the plough. That's better. Yeah, it used to be I'd prefer to use the straight ploughs because they were easier to use. But it's worth learning how these ploughs work, because they are a bit more effective than the square ploughs. And 19. Off we go again. Now this plough is actually a little bit wider on the right than the tractor. If you use some of the smaller ploughs of this style, you actually have to put the, at this point, the right hand wheel of the tractor in the last rut of the previous plough stage or pass in order to have the plough do the entire width without leaving gaps. On this one I can leave a little gap between the last plough run and this. could run this using the GPS, but because of the slope at the top of the field here, I would have to keep resetting it every time I turn around at this end. And it's not too difficult to do it by eye. Somewhat. And not sure I'm supposed to drive over a ploughed area, but well. So how are we doing? Almost lunchtime. How's the slurry tanker doing? Getting to the point where the field narrows. And the reason the digestate level isn't going down on the Valtra is because I've told the help to automatically take digestate from the BGA tank. Now you could consider that cheating, or you could just say, well, I've got a helper driving a truck, hauling digestate down from the BGA and filling up the slurry tank. But unfortunately, unless you want to play with course play, that's not an option with the standard in-game helper system. So we'll pretend that's happening, even though it's not actually happening. Of course, if it was actually happening, I would have to pay the salary of the truck driver ferrying the digestate. Now, I'm assuming that if the digestate tank empties completely, that then that 54% will start going down until it reaches 0, because there's nothing to refill it directly from. But we shall see. Oops. Field 1 only used push the right buttons, there we go. Field 1 only used 15% of the digestate tank. Now this one, these two fields might drop us to 50%. Too far. Forget to drink lots of water. Been a while since I've done a significant amount of ploughing in this tractor. Basically because I'm doing all of the field prep work while I'm ploughing, while I'm harvesting, sorry. I don't get much chance to perform this task. Probably this first year when you play seasons, none of the fields are ready. So you start day one spring and you've got everything to do, which makes spring a busy season. But end of the first year you have the option of cultivating fields and putting down fertilizer before the winter, and so taking time to do that or paying a helper to do that gives you a less hectic springtime when you need to be putting in the crops in all the fields. And obviously if you've got it takes you a day to plough them, a day to cultivate them, a day to seed them, you're at spring day 3 or 4 before you got the crop in the ground, which makes it later in fall that the crop's going to be available to harvest. I misjudged that. And now we're at full lock. I didn't flip that this time. So by getting all this work done now, as soon as the snow melts and spring comes, I can start planting stuff, and we get surprised and we're able to harvest at the end of summer rather than through the entirety of fall. Which, as we've seen this year, we're going to have 2/3 of fall, or there's going to be rain. And I still need to fit in 2 more cuts of the grass, if I can. I may lose the second one. I don't know. First day of fall is when when it's going to be cloudy but not wet. So we might get away with that. Cut the grass then, but then the next cut I would want to do is the last day of fall, which is due to rain, and you can't cut wet grass. Now it may end up that last day the rain falls first thing in the morning, and by 6 o'clock in the evening it's all dried out and I can cut it. But that's going to be a nighttime cut. Can't see winter yet, so we don't know what the first day of winter is going to look like. But it will be revealed tomorrow. Oh, there's regular 24 hours in a day, but from 8 o'clock in the evening you can, sorry, from 8 o'clock in the evening or when the sun sets, depending which one comes first, you can skip time to the next morning, and you can pick whether you want to skip up to 6 a.m. or when the sun rises. Now, obviously, during the summer, the sun's rising at 5 o'clock in the morning. But in the winter, the sun's rising at 8 o'clock in the morning, so maybe you want to get up at 6. All depends what you've got to do. For the most part, I don't have any plans for winter this game year. Aside from feeding animals. So I may leave it and say, oh, get up when the sun gets up, because nothing else to do. But during the summer I've been getting up at sunrise. Okay, I will flip that and do another turn, but I'm not sure whether we're actually done ploughing this field, or whether there's a little bit on the edge. Thank you, wonderful. Okay. That will be all of it though. So that is done. I can put the plough in travel mode, yes. So what that does is put all the wheels down. Actually, I think those are the standard rear wheels. But it puts the plough upright so it's not overhanging anywhere that we're driving. So ploughing's done. Now I've got to find somewhere to stick this. I may stick it up here. I'm pretty sure these fields north of us are also going to need to be ploughed. So drop that. We'll turn the engine off for now, and we'll get moving the harvesting convoy up to the next field. Oh, you think? I don't think Helper A has finished their task. I think Helper A has probably missed vast bits of that field with the digestate, and I'm going to have to go back and fill in all the gaps. But first things first, let's get this thing up to field 26. I could have put the harvester on follow me so that everything arrives at the same time. But I didn't, so never mind. And yes, well done. Oh, I hate this bit now. Because I've actually managed to wrap this around the gate post. So we'll try that again. That's better. That's handy. I didn't shut the harvester up. That was bad. Yes, if you look at the top right of the screen, there's a monetary amount, £615,000, and then right to next to that there is a timer with a 1 in it. That means I'm actually running this in real time. I can alter that 5, 15, 30, 60, 120, the final two. So effectively you're playing an hour a minute a second, or 2 minutes per second. And I did that the last day I was doing the tree work, primarily because I knew for part of it I was looking at wasting some time cutting trees down, and there really was nothing else to do. So spending time cutting the trees down and and fast winding time serve two purposes. And that will connect. I have no idea if I can get the trailer out from underneath it though, because I'm on a hill. Start the engine. Yeah, okay. And we're good to go. Okay. I'm going to pull this down to the end of the field. It's one, it gets it out of the way. And 2, we're going to head across this field, end up over here somewhere, and then go into the next field. And I left the gate open. Well, that was careless of me. Well, in that case I'll park in here, because I think this field is also ready to go. And I can jump down to there. This here. And then we jump in here and get this thing running. That should be good for a helper. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna load this up anyway. But I'm not going to do anything with the bales today. I'm just going to load the truck up. Are you still set to round bales? Yeah, okay. Square bales. Turn on. There we go. Okay, so it's not a good idea doing it on the front truck. But if I put this here, we can turn it off. That puts the unload grid on the left, right, and rear. And then I have the option of positioning it left and right, and positioning it up and down. So I can stack bales on bales, and then we'll reset it. And if I press 4 again, that puts it as unload center, which is unload on the truck. So if I put the straps out now, nothing happens. If I unload it to center, turn the straps off and then put them back on again, that's now strapped on the back of the trailer, and I can do the same with the truck. So now those are bales on a truck, which is how I want them, because I'm just going to drive over the bale sell point at A&M sales, and it'll see those bales on the back of the trailer and just sell them. If they were in virtual mode, they were auto loaded, they don't sell, because the sell point can't see them, because they're just images, not physical objects. Anyway, if I was playing with seasons on a seasons prepared map, then those bales in the field would rot when it rains. However, at the moment, for one thing, this map is not seasons prepared, so the bales don't rot. And second, bales never rot. Yeah, so bales never rot on a map that is not prepared for seasons. So those bales would never go away. The loose straw on the field and the loose straw on the path that I left there, they will rot the next time it rains, and I don't mind that happening. Okay, we are now using up the digestate. Probably what I'll do is I'll run this dry, go and fill up using the cow slurry, because I've got quite a fair amount of that, and then start the next field, run the tank dry, and then put it back on a helper using the digestate from the BGA again. Yeah, as I said, normal seasons prepared maps, bales anything left in the field will deteriorate when it would, with hay and straw when it rains, whether it's loose or bales. But on this map they don't. However, I honour the thought behind it, so I will always put my bales away. Oh, you're having problems, dude. And now I've run you into the wall. That's more of a problem. Oh, and our harvest is almost full again as well. Lower that and off we go. Oh, poor little tractor. Having issues. Oh, we're out. So, that tank was full of digestate. But since I would have to drive all the way to the BGA to fill it up, and we have a load of slurry just on the left here, I'm going to fill it up with slurry this time. Tell me how much. Wow. 107,000, only 13%. Now, functionally, the slurry and the digestate work exactly the same. 21,000. We're done. There's some bits over here as well. Okay, how are we doing? We've done all of this side, so there's 3 bits there and then the entirety of that edge. I think it's the way the map designer created this field. Helpers do not have a good time on it. Yeah, it just comes from the cows ready-made. You always, cows always produce slurry. So do pigs, but not in as large a quantity. And cows only and pigs only produce manure if you give them straw. And also, I did test it one year when I didn't have any straw available as soon as I bought the cows. The cows produce less slurry and milk if you don't give them straw. So, give them what they want and they'll happily produce everything you need. If you skip on something, then you won't get everything you want. Now I'm pretty sure I haven't used any slurry since I got the cows. I definitely haven't used any manure because I don't have a manure spreader. But up until now, the BJA has produced sufficient quantities of digestate from all the silage I've been making that I haven't really worried about using what the cows do naturally. But that's going to have to change as I buy more fields, and I am going to need a manure spreader. So that I can use up some of that large pile of manure. Okay. Okay. How are we doing? 13,000 left. So as soon as this field is all done, I'll get the class on it with the cultivator so that it's ready for planting, and I'll go and send this tractor off onto field 3 to do pretty much what it's doing at the moment. I think I'm going to run out of slurry again. Okay. You sit there for a minute because we have this to do. $12,800. Ding, off you go. I'm not sure if there's a way to get around it, but if you travel too far from a tractor that's turned on, it will turn off. Which is a little bit annoying when I'm just jumping somewhere else to do a quick task and then want to come back. Little bit there that I missed, and lift, swing it about. I'm also not sure if I have to prime this with digestate before the helper will use it. One thing's for sure, I've got to empty this tank entirely in order for the helper to use the Sure, I missed a bit somewhere. I'm darned if I can see it right now. That's interesting. That looks like we pretty much got it all. Okay then. We are going to have to fold that up to get it through the gate. How's the harvester doing? 43%. should have enough time to get this thing started on the next field. If we don't have to prime the tank. Okay. And you are done. So back up a bit and I'll set it up for a north-south run. This trailer does not have a good turn radius. The tractor does, but I think it's fouling the hitch if I try and turn too sharply. Line that up, and you're doing it. Okay then. And we do have a layer of digestate on the back. Problem is oh well, I can run over there when it's done and finish off. Okay, that's fine where it is for now. That's fine where it is for now. That's what I want. Go find the cultivator. Which is one of these two. Uh-oh, and harvester's nearly full again. Yes, basically you have to change, or either you have to change the state of a field or the field state has to change before you can run another level of fertilization. So at the moment this field has been fertilized because the last thing that happened on it was a harvest. So I changed the state from ripe crop to harvest. I can fertilize it. I'm now going to cultivate it, which technically means I could then fertilize it again because I've changed the state from harvested to cultivated. I could then plant seed on it and I can fertilize it again because I've changed it from cultivated to seeded. From that point onwards I then have to wait when it goes from seed in the ground like the grass field that we did yesterday, and you can actually see grass growing out of the ground. So it's it's gone from stage 0 growth to stage 1 growth. You can then fertilize it again. And so long as you have fertilized it at each stage until the field is ripe, you'll get your 3 stages of fertilization. So you don't have to do it every time the field changes growth stage or harvested to oh, that missed. Stop. Harvested to cultivated to whatever. I'm making a complete mess of this. Okay. Lower that. Turn very sharp. Doesn't matter if it overlaps the edge of the field a little bit. Farming Simulator ignores the fact that the cultivator is ripping up grass along the edge of the field. Okay, ploughing is... cultivating is this. We're just churning the top layer of soil, turning it over. Whereas ploughing is what we did on this field, which is a deep cut into the dirt and turning it over. So it's pulling the nutrients up, and basically it's saying, you know, every couple of years you're going to want to do a full plough and to replenish the nutrients, but other than that you just need to churn up the soil a little bit before you plant your seeds. And some planters are, as I said, drills, and so they drill the seed into the ground. You don't have to cultivate it before you use one of those. Unfortunately, none of my planters are considered drills, so I either have to plough or I have to cultivate before I can sow seed. So we're cultivating, we're sticking digestate on the ground. We can actually look at this field now because we've started to harvest it, and this one does not need to be ploughed. Maybe I miscalculated. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, okay, so this is the 4th year. So this is the 4th harvest on each of these fields. Actually not 34 because that's a grass field, but 33, 32, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. This is the 4th harvest on these fields. So I ploughed them last year after the 3rd harvest. This field I bought in the 2nd year that I was running the farm, which is why it needed to be ploughed this year, because this was, you know, the harvest we just did on it was the 3rd harvest since the last time that field was ploughed. We need to go and get to the farm and unload this. No, the seeder won't work. Now in reality you would waste your seed, but the way Farming Simulator works is it only counts the seed that is planted within the defined area of the field. So if your seeder is hanging over the edge of the field into the grass area, so this bit here, it won't count that as being seeded. It won't deduct from the seed in the tank. It assumes the seeder has been set up so that it only seeds in the defined field area. It used to be, when the game first started, fertilizer didn't care. So if you had a seeder which carried fertilizer, it would just lay fertilizer everywhere, but it would only lay seed inside of the field. More recently they changed just the seeders that include fertilizer to only be putting fertilizer down when the seeder was in motion and when the seeder was putting seed in the ground. So the seeders became more efficient. That little fertilizer spreader that I used the other day on the grass field, or the newly seeded grass field, that was it spreads fertilizer at a constant rate. Whether you're moving or whether you're stationary, it just spreads fertilizer. So if you're not on a field, you're wasting it. If you are on a field, you're fine. And that's weirdness of programming, and something I look for because I'm a programmer, so I'll kind of exploit that functionality within the game. I'm going to run up here because he's back up to 80% again. And we're cruise control set to 3 miles an hour, so we can actually run alongside him, set cruise control on, and unload as we go. Not sure I'm far enough forwards. Oh, I am. Okay. And we'll go till he's empty. And then pull off to the side again. Oh no, that's fine. It's one of the reasons I'm here. And unlike people like Arthur or Daggerwin, who try and be realistic but don't always understand the complexities of the game itself about how it's programmed, I'm looking at this as a programmer, not as a farmer, because I'm a professional programmer, not a professional farmer. In fact, I'm not really any type of farmer. If you give me a plant, I'll kill it. The only success I've had lately is with blackberry bushes, and that's because you really don't have to do much to look after them. They kind of take care of themselves for the most part. Okay, we'll pull off to the side for now. You can just sit there, turn the engine off. So, let's go back and check on things. You're doing all the cultivating stuff, and a reasonable job you're doing at the moment. You've missed the entire top of this field. And you're doing the harvesting. I'm going to jump out here and take a look at this tank. So we're now down to 568,000 litres, 70% almost. I am going to check the digestate tanks that I have here. Start the engine, okay. And pull forward a bit. Drop that off. So these are the two tanks we're pretending are ferrying digestate from the BGA down to the field. And that one is full. Cool. And the other one is very awkwardly positioned. Seriously awkwardly positioned. I may move it over. And that one is full too. Good. Actually, I might put those in that other barn. So, didn't need to do that. I needed to drop that off. So those two tanks are full. So I can always manually refill the slurry tank if I need to. And that is full of digestate, not slurry. Well, yeah, but there'll still be stuff to learn. There is stuff that is going to be different between this game and 19. Crash. Pull forwards and that's about right. Okay, we'll go and hitch back up on the straw then. But those will be easier to get out than in that tight little barn. That's the sort of barn I want to put small farm implements in that I can use the yard tractor to shuffle about. Okay. And you can get some ideas by watching some of the YouTubers have training videos where they show you how to feed your animals or make money from the start, and they're all going to be at the moment Farm Sim 17 specific. Arthur did one on what's the most profitable crop. Well, it's grass if you have a mower and a baler and a wrapper. Woo. Oh, I forgot, I unloaded these onto the flatbed, so this is going to be a little bit unstable if I'm not careful. And we really don't want to roll this. I really wish the camera angle would behave itself. Let's get inside the cab. And when FS19 comes out, Arthur will do another set of educational videos on how to play Farm Sim 19. And he'll do one on the differences between 17 and 19. They're all going to turn left, so I'm going. Oops, sorry, truck car. So, because these are effectively physical bales on the back of the truck, as soon as I drive over here, they disappear. And we can make the straps go away. Now, Helper J has a full... Oh, he does he? And once again, we jump to the JCB. And we go and find a harvester. He's done a lot of the field. It's not like he's slacking. canola is a very efficient crop to harvest. You don't get a big yield from it, but canola is more valuable than the likes of wheat and barley. So it sells for approximately the same amount per hectare. So let's say canola was valued at twice the value of wheat. You may get 50,000 litres of wheat from this field, and it would be worth, let's say 25,000 to sell. Canola, you would only get 25,000 of litres of canola from the same field, but it would still be worth £25,000 to sell. Which is why when everyone says, oh, what's the best crop to grow? Generally there isn't one. They're all worth the same amount per hectare. The differences come in how much seed it needs to plant it all, and how much you pull out of the ground at the end of it. So canola is actually inefficient planting wise. You use a lot more seed to plant a hectare, but it yields a lot less, but the crop is more valuable. So because it yields a lot less, I can leave the harvester standing, or harvesting for a lot longer before I have to empty it, and it takes far fewer trips with this trailer to ship all of the product from this field to the silo, whereas with a wheat field the harvester fills up quicker, and you use up far more trailer space to so you're making a lot more trips with the tractor and trailer. In that respect, soybeans is the best crop because it uses the least amount of seed, and it yields the least amount of most valuable crop. Things like potatoes and sugar beets are probably the worst because value-wise they're so cheap. They yield a ton of product, but if you're playing solo, that's a lot of work you have to do. If you're playing multiplayer, then it doesn't matter because you'll have 2 or 3 people with a tractor and trailer each, and one guy with a harvester, and you just have this convoy of people unloading the harvester and shipping the stuff down to the silo and unloading. And so the guy in the harvester doesn't have to wait for anybody to do anything. So you can so you can plant what you want and harvest what you want. But single player, it's kind of soybeans is the best crop for you because it's less time consuming to plant it and harvest it. However, it's not generally realistic everywhere. Soybeans is not a common crop in Scotland. I think I have some in the ground somewhere on this farm. But your typical main crop that you would grow in Scotland is barley. And that's because the brewers like barley. And, well, okay, you can sit there. There's a cow. Hi, cow. Nope, That's the camera button. Spending money on something. Oh, we have 3 workers going, that's why the money's going down so quickly. You got the harvester running on a worker. And this guy's running as a worker, and that guy has just finished. Congratulations. We need to go and fill that tank up. And yeah, this is another field that is not worker friendly. We have a lot of gaps to fill up now. Oh, there's all my cows. Hi, cows. So now, because we've only got 2 helpers running, our money's not going down quite so quickly. Oh. Oh, I've got this really stuck. Okay. Looking at that, maintenance is required in 18 days. That's good. But diesel is going to be needed soon. Okay, and drop the boom and let's go. I think the only problem with how-to videos is you can't ask questions if you're still confused. Whereas with a stream you can say, oh, what happens if, or how, can you explain that again? enough space. Oh, harvester's nearly full again. So, straight across here, that should be wide enough to cover the entire width of that bit. Oh. Very careful. Oh, missed a bit on the left, missed a bit on the right. Missed another bit on the right. And done, lift. One bit. Two bit. Turn around. And now it's getting hard to tell because I've got too much tyre tracks running. But the harvester's full, so we can jump over to that. Okay, you're done. Again, for now. Yeah, we were doing this. Still too many tyre tracks to tell how good a job we did. Sometimes this is quite tricky with the longer equipment because it doesn't always follow you precisely, and so you think you're going to get it all, but it doesn't turn fast enough. One side or the other gets missed. I'm not too fussed about this though, because I still have to go back and get some. So there's a little triangle there. There's another one, maybe there. And there's definitely one there. Okay. To run across the bottom again. Oh, another full grain tank. Yay. And we've run out again. Okay, we'll lift that back to the JCB. I'm very fortunate that the pipe's always been on the harvested side of the harvester. I don't have to drive through the crops to unload it. Actually, I can turn that off and leave it there and go back to this guy. I'm going to need to fold that up because we need to replenish the tank. Try not to get wrapped around the silage bunker this time. Cows are having a meeting. They may be plotting my downfall. I'm assuming the tracks on this tanker reduce the pressure on the ground so as not to compact it. Oh, no. At the back, and let's go. Lower and I don't necessarily want to drive through animals, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because in 17 there are times where you just get animals walk in the most inconvenient places and you can't get your tractor out, and if on 17 you can get your tractor out because you can drive through the animals, but on 19 they could trap you. And generally if you're driving through an animal field and sounding your horn, they're probably going to try and avoid you. Okay, we have completed that field, I believe. Yep, that's all light blue and good to go. And ploughed. So, we are done with that for now. We'll pull the tracks in. So I can pull this out of this field. And stick it somewhere useful. Everything queuing up to go up this way. This isn't going to be needed in field 26 for a while, at least. So I may just be done with that. We can turn that off. So we're still harvesting, and we are still cultivating. Oh yeah. So there's a obvious bit there which the helper's ignoring. There's a couple of bits over there that he missed. So I think as far as the helper is concerned, so long as there is workable ground in the exact middle of the implement he's using, that's where he puts the implement down into the work position or lifts it up. So over here we've got bits that were missed because he said, oh well, the middle of the tool has reached the edge, so I'm going to lift it up now. And then everything further than that gets missed. Same there. Helper J nearly has a full tank again. Are you about to come this way? Sure looks like it. Yeah, it's just that, Farm Sim 17, some of the farms have very tight entrances to the animal enclosures. And you can be in the situation where, oh, I need to get in there so I can put some water in the trough, and there's a bunch of cows in this pathway that aren't going to let me in. Or now I've put the water in the trough and now the cows have filled up the pathway and I can't get out. I can end up with a trapped tractor that I need for another job now, and I can't do it because my cows are being annoying. But then again, they're the enclosures aren't going to be like they are here, where it's effectively a fenced off pasture. You're going to be building a cow enclosure or a sheep enclosure. I think they've said that it's small, medium or large, and it may be that the reason to go in there is no longer there. Pretty much like what is it, Goldcrest on FS17. There is absolutely no reason to go in the pig enclosure, and you can't actually get a tractor in there unless you're really crazy, because all the pens are on the outside. All the troughs are on the outside. The straw fill point is round the back, and either you drop straw into the pig pen, or you get one of the bale shredders and shred straw into the pig pen. But it's people trying to make things more realistic, so there are methods of opening gates and getting into animal enclosures on some farms, especially like this one, where I have to go out into the fields full of sheep in order to drop the hay and water for them. And not effectively having the possibility that the animals could trap a tractor in the enclosure while you're doing those tasks could be a problem. Yeah, driving through animals is unrealistic, and having cows walk through your tractor is unrealistic, but sometimes you trade the realism for the gameplay aspect. So this time I'm driving this with bales that are just in auto load state. I haven't unloaded them onto the trailer, so the truck isn't top heavy and unstable. But you'll see when I get to the sell point, the bales won't disappear, because they're not really bales, they're pictures of bales. Thank you, car. Okay, it was my fault, but and the acceleration of the truck is much better because it doesn't think it's hauling 24 bales. Oh, you can go bankrupt. But the way you go bankrupt is to take out a huge loan and have to be paying interest on it, and just having no income to cover the interest. At this point on this farm, it's not a thing. So I drive here, bales don't go away. I select that and I unload the bales onto the trailer and they'll disappear. Or I can pull this one forward, and let's unload to the left. Let's pull forward so they don't explode in the air. Okay, that's about right. And I unload them and bang, they're gone. So the difference between a physical bale and an image of a bale, and I'm going to fill the truck up with diesel from the store. One of the achievements for Farm Sim 17 was to end up with a negative balance. Now I've got 618,000, so I've got a long way to go. Plus I don't have a loan. In the base game, the maximum loan you could have was 300,000 negative. So, and it would charge you interest on a daily basis, and thus very simple to end up with no money if you borrow more than you can afford to pay back. That's the borrow repay I haven't had a loan for ages, and my personal philosophy is you don't borrow money. Because borrowing money costs you more than you get out of the money that you're borrowing. I also don't lease, but in Farm Sim I will consider leasing equipment that I need for a day that is quite expensive, but if I have the option, if I see a need, I will buy it rather than lease it. So for the first year I sold the combine harvester the farm started with, because it was quite a small combine harvester and I had 10 fields to harvest, and I figured, yeah, it's going to take me days to do that. And so I sold it because I didn't see the point in paying maintenance on it for the first 6 months of playing, when you've got your starting money, you've got your starting equipment, and you're not going to make any money until you can sell grass or cut down a bunch of trees. And paying maintenance on a piece of equipment that you're not using is kind of pointless. Now at the end, by the time fall came along, I needed a harvester, but I didn't have $400,000 to buy a decent one. So I leased one for a day or 2 days while I harvested all the fields. And then once the harvest was done, I gave it back. And then the following year, I leased another harvester. And by year 3, I said, okay, I can now afford a really decent harvester, so I bought the Class 700 Lexion. And I've had that on the farm since. Now, it could be argued that paying maintenance on a harvester that I use for 2 days out of 24 could be a bit of an extravagance, but it saves me having to pay the lease payments on one for 2 days. And if in the case of today I can harvest what was it, that field, that field, that field, that field, and that field, then I have to wait potentially 3 or 4 days before I have to before I get to harvest those fields and those fields and that field. And that's days where I give the harvester back, but then I have to release it, and the initial payment on the lease is quite high. I'm not sure the maintenance costs on it are as significant over the long term. But if I was borrowing money to buy the harvester, then I'm paying the interest on that loan as well. And I might look at that and say, yeah, that's not cool either. Too expensive. Okay, truck's there. The truck needs to be turned off. Okay, let's do a service check. That needs to be serviced in 4 days or 20 hours. 21 days or 29 hours. That got serviced a couple of days ago. That needs to be serviced soon. That doesn't have to be serviced until, what is it, 6 days? Sometime in the winter. Same with that one. Oh, that doesn't have to be serviced till next year. Neither does that. That only has 7.3 hours left on it before it needs a service. I've been overusing that tractor because there's still 18 days until the maintenance is required. Oh, that's because it was... I used that for the logging operation. That was a lot of driving. That just got done. That needs to be done in 4 days. That just got done. And we're back there. Okay. JCB. So nothing needs a service imminently, but I am going to have to look at some of the vehicles soon. No. What then happens is the equipment if you skip a service, the equipment becomes unreliable, and also that daily maintenance cost, I think, multiplies by about 3. So that's the sell price. This is the daily maintenance cost. So that's one of the mower units is £13 a day. This is the little 4-wheel steer tractor I've got down at the sheep farm. That costs me $107 a day. If I do not service it in the next 4 days, that's going to jump to about £300-400 per day to maintain. And also there is a chance that it breaks down. The engine will cut out and it will sit there. Now you can try and restart it and it will eventually restart, but it gets to be a pain when you're driving along doing something and the tractor cuts out. So maintenance is a good thing to do. The vehicles themselves do not decay, so they're not going to lose horsepower or anything like that. Now in Farm Sim 19 they're saying that over time the tractors will age, you'll lose horsepower on the tractors, so you're going to go out and buy new ones. Now you look at some of mine, this is quite a new tractor, has 40 hours on it. Says so just under the speedometer on the right hand panel at the bottom. Not that. Jump between vehicles is that button. That one is very new, only 4.8 hours, and because it's one of the lighter of the field tractors that I use, it doesn't put on many hours. It's mostly used for the light fertilizers and weeder, and it also participates in the mowing train. This tractor, 92.5 hours. I've had this since the very first year, and it does all of the ploughing, cultivating and seeding. 49.5 hours on that one, and that's quite a new tractor. This 11 hours, and that's probably over 2 harvests including this one. 36.6 hours, that's quite good. 11, so that's an extravagance really, but it helps to have it here so I don't have to bring a tractor over to put silage bales in the digester. Trucks 57 hours and 24 hours. I've been trying to put more hours on the blue one. 3 hours on the Land Rover. Yeah, I don't drive that much. That one's used to feed the cows. Used to sit in the main yard. I used to have a Fendt to feed the cows, but it was a lower horsepower unit and a lot lighter, which made lifting bales could be a challenge for it at times. So I sold that and put the Massey Ferguson over with the cows. So it's now starting to rack up more hours. Did that say no? The big thing is still only oh, we're nearly done with the harvest. You are done. That means we're not paying anybody to drive you. So I'll pull that to the end there. And we'll finish off the cultivating this little bit here. he finished all the way at the top of the field, so that's a good thing. Then there is bound to be some issues at the other end. But yeah, wearing out equipment in Farm Sim 19 is something we're going to have to learn about. How quickly does the equipment degrade? It's obviously in the real world, tractors have thousands of hours of life, but in Farm Sim, where a year is, or my year is 24 days, and if you think a year's 365, I'm doing far fewer hours on a vehicle than you would do in the real world. So Farm Sim gets around that issue by making everything wear out faster. I should not reverse with that down, but we're doing it. Missed a bit. Oh, that's overcooked it. There we go. I'll take down that. Missed again. Like I said, the problem is my planter is not a drill, so any bits I miss will not accept seed. So yeah, I'm kind of OCD in making sure the entire field gets done correctly. Although real world, I'm guessing a farmer wouldn't necessarily be so thorough. So long as you get most of the field done, I'm happy. Much like I did with the baling. I got most of the field done, but I didn't do all of it. So yeah, this time of year I am using up diesel on every single vehicle I've got at quite a big or a large rate of knots. So the Valtra's about half a tank, this thing's half a tank. I just refilled the yellow truck, but we are done with the cultivating on those fields. So field 2 and 3 can now be planted, and I am going to plant them with a cover crop, but not today. I'm going to hitch up to this. There we go. Oh, there we go. That is oilseed radish, and we'll talk about that next time. All I want to finish off now is that. You ain't finished, dude. What's your problem? Do that. Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is commonly what the workers leave, is the little strip down the side of the field. Although we noticed yesterday on the field 2, it just went straight along the edge, which at the time I commented I was a bit surprised it did that. Now, I still think this harvester is too wide to get through the double gate at the end of the field. So I might have to bring the Massey Ferguson and the header trailer back into this field in order to move it over to the next one. We'll see. Either way, I've got to empty this because the next field is wheat and we're currently loaded with canola. Might have to, well, yeah, no big deal. Okay, we'll run over to the JCB, fill up what it can. That's actually a good point. For equipment that you only use infrequently, now obviously trailers and plows don't have engines, so they won't get worse. I don't know if they're going to bother with equipment wear and tear and damage. Try and encourage you to replace your plows every few years, but I mean the thing is with a plow is I need it 1 year in 3 unless I buy a new field. I'm getting to the point now on this farm where not all my fields are on the same plow cycle, and so if I decided, yeah, I'll lease a plow instead of buying one, I would have to pretty much now lease one every year. But when I started the game, I need a plough to start the fields off. I could sell it, and I don't need one for another 3 years. And then I could just lease one. But like I said, ploughs don't have engines, so there isn't a degradation in horsepower for a plough. So maybe there's less incentive for that. And you know, thinking about it in real life, I mean, some farmers don't own heavy-duty baling equipment, and they pay contractors to come in and bring their heavy-duty baling equipment to bale their farms. You know, their straw, their wheat, whatever. What am I trying to do? Get out. Run over here. Turn the flasher off, turn that off. Turn the engine on, and let's see. I really don't think that's going to fit through that gate. Nah. Okay, I need the trailer. I will turn further out, so there's enough room to get the tractor there. I can turn that off for a sec. Jump out. But maybe there would be a case on, say, this farm that I need the Massey Ferguson for day-to-day duty, or I need the New Holland T6 as a daily worker. But the class is an extravagance. I need the class every so often when I have ploughing work to do, so maybe I'll lease it. And yeah, there could be a good argument for that. Is that in the middle? Pretty much. Too far. Close enough. Okay. Jump out of view. Now. I think there's enough room to turn the harvest around along here, so I will pull that up there. Go and get the harvester, connect that on, and we will call it a day for now. That's the one. So, next session we will be harvesting the wheat in this field, getting the class up to, no, the class is going to be used to seed fields 2 and 3 with, what did I say, a cover crop, and that's it. It'll probably be a couple of days before we get the class over here, to finish cultivating and seeding these 2 fields. Come on. Are you lined up? Yes. Back up. And we'll lower the head for now. And we will close the top. Okay, so harvesting this field. Can't jump over the tractor there. This field will need to be cultivated and sown. We need to unload that tractor, and we'll be running the class over fields 2 and 3 and sowing the cover crop. No, the Valtra could be fertilizing field 26 next time as well. Tomorrow is going to be World of Warships. I start that around about 6:30, and then at 8 o'clock Arthur starts his mainstream, and we'll be joining him for a 2 or 3 man division. Information about my schedule and how to access the cooperative streams that I play with Arthur are all now listed below the view window on Twitch. Just scroll down a bit. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see whoever's interested in warships tomorrow at around about 6:30. Good night.